Russia's playing dirty, sending a mercenary force to take over the Hanko Peninsula in Finland. They have sneaked in a boatload of troops and equipment, used a disguised cargo ship. The Finnish Defense Force's elite Jaeger units, riding in 2 H-90 choppers, swoops in to intercept the fleeing vessel in the Baltic Sea. A crack team fast ropes onto the deck and splits up. One group beelines for the hold, while the other takes control of the bridge.
Finnish Defense Forces!
Show me your hands!
Get on the ground!
Just as intel suggested, there are extra hands in cockpit, 3 of them armed to the teeth. Outgunned and outmanned, they throw in the towel. The team searching the ballast tank, however, runs into some pushback. Despite nabbing the ship, they're still in hot water. To make matters worse, the Russian Navy's steaming in from Kaliningrad, headed straight for Finland. The Russians deny any involvement in the Hanko invasion and, get this, offer to send troops to help Finland rescue Russian citizens on Hanko. President Linnea sees right through this dog and pony show and calls in the Russian ambassador. The ambassador plays dumb, calling the Hanko situation a local conflict and insists Russia's just looking out for its people. Linnea's not buying it, but her own prime minister keeps throwing a wrench in the works, even playing into the Russian ambassador's hands. He's still dreaming of a come-by moment. The meeting ends on a sour note, with Linnea publicly ripping into the prime minister for being naive. While the politicians are playing chess, rookie squad leader Berg and her 2 remaining men are making a break for the harbor on Hanko. They just took out a bunch of enemy soldiers, and now the bad guys have locked down the port and hijacked all the boats. Forced to backtrack to the training grounds, they stumble upon a light armored vehicle. Lucky for them, it's empty with the keys still in it. But as soon as they hop in, a mini drone pops up. Osman thinks fast, swatting it down with a shovel from the vehicle. Their cover's blown, though. Berg floors it, but they don't get far before an armored personnel carrier is on their tail, its mounted gun blazing away. The 7.62mm rounds can't punch through their armor, but a firefight's the last thing they need right now. Berg zigzags like crazy, but they hit a roadblock. She cranks the wheel, sending them careening onto a beach. The APC's still hot on their heels, so Osman breaks out the M72 light anti-tank weapon. They take out the pursuit, but their ride conks out. With no other choice, they hightail it into the woods. Captain Rami's also playing hide and seek with the enemy. After learning his neighbors and buddies have been killed or captured, he grabs his gear and goes solo, dodging patrols. He slips into town disguised as a civilian, hell-bent on finding his wife and daughter. Meanwhile, the mercenaries occupying Hanko try to play nice, claiming they're just renting the peninsula as a gateway to Europe. They even have the gall to accuse Finnish troops of killing civilians. Truth is, those bodies in the photos are Rami's partners, gunned down by the mercs themselves. It's a classic frame job to paint Finland as the bad guy.
Täyttä valetta.
With public opinion turning sour, President Linnea knows it's time to put up or shut up. She suits up in fatigues and orders a special operations team to infiltrate Hanko for intel and to bag some high-ranking enemy officers. She gives the troops a rousing pep talk and, ever the social media savvy leader, has her aide record it for TikTok. After all, she's not just a president, she's an influencer. But when the US ambassador gets wind of Linnea's plan, he demands she call off the operation. Turns out the grandson of the US Speaker of the House is stuck on Hanko, Private Williams, one of Berg's men. That's why the US has been keeping NATO on a tight leash. But it's too late to pull the plug. The special operations team's already on Hanko. They fire up the Sirius system, linking up with HQ via military satellite. Finnish Hornet fighters take to the sky, joined by Swedish Gripen jets thanks to a mutual defense pact. They're set to stage a fake attack on Hanko with a Hamina-class missile boat, giving the special operations team cover to penetrate enemy lines. But Hanko's packing heat. An S-400 air defense system launches 2 missiles at the incoming jets. HQ scrambles to launch Stinger missiles to cover the Hornet's retreat, while the Gripen narrowly dodges with chaff. The action's not over yet. 2 more active radar homing missiles streak out from a ground launcher. The missile boat manages to shoot one down with its close-in weapon system and tricks the other with decoys. One thing's crystal clear, these mercenaries are armed to the teeth with some serious military muscle. While the enemy's attention is glued to the sea surface, the special operations team slips on their scuba gear and dives beneath the waves. As they near the shore, they quietly pop up. As soon as the special operations team lands on the beach and enters the dense forest, they encounter an armored vehicle on patrol. This indicates that the enemy has already established a structured occupation and military deployment, clearly not just a ragtag group relying on brute force. With all roads tightly blocked and monitored, the team plans to silently make their way to the city center through the sewers. However, they encounter an unexpected situation right from the start: a drunk man. 2 team members immediately restrain him to stop his shouting, while the others quickly take cover to observe any enemy movement nearby. Fortunately, no unusual activity is detected. The team, however, remains on high alert, knowing that any mistake could spell disaster. A team member, armed with an RK-62 assault rifle, uses a tactical flashlight to quickly check for tripwires as his comrade opens the door. At corners, he switches to a strobe light technique to disorient any enemies lurking in the darkness. In narrow passages, the point man switches to a compact Glock 17 pistol to handle potential close-quarter combat, while the rear guard maintains the more powerful assault rifle to ensure fire superiority. Upon reaching the core area, the team splits up according to the mission protocol. The breach team heads to the city hall to gather intelligence and locate the target, while the sniper team moves to occupy high ground in nearby buildings to observe and report enemy movements in real time, providing covering fire if necessary. The breach team quickly discovers a radar vehicle used to jam military and civilian communication networks. However, they face a dilemma as civilians are being used as human shields around the vehicle. Suddenly, an officer appears in the sniper's scope.
Easy.
Meillä positive ID. Main man, X-ray 1.
Suunnitelman muutos. Muuttu kiinniottotehtäväksi.
Kuitti tälle.
Guided by the sniper team at the vantage point, the breach team climbs to the rooftop and maneuvers into the building where the target is hiding. While they successfully avoid the outer security forces, they inevitably encounter soldiers patrolling the hallways.
Drop your weapon! Stop!
Gunfire alerts the enemy forces below, who immediately prepare to counterattack. But the sniper team, armed with Seiko TRG M10 sniper rifles, doesn't let them succeed. Despite the sudden firefight, the special operations team advances methodically. They move in a formation that creates interlocking fields of fire. At doorways, the rear support decisively throws a flashbang, while the lead breacher seamlessly rushes in to swiftly neutralize the enemies. Finally, they successfully capture the target officer. This fluid and synchronized teamwork is truly impressive to witness. Meanwhile, the sniper team continues to eliminate outer security forces. However, they soon face suppressing fire from a BMP infantry fighting vehicle that arrives as reinforcement. Its 30mm automatic grenade launcher forces the sniper team to abandon their rifles and quickly retreat. Just as they leave the building, they're ambushed by remaining enemies hiding behind the radar vehicle. One sniper is hit, but his body armor saves his life. As the infantry fighting vehicle closes in, the other sniper throws a smoke grenade to cover their retreat. Inside the building, the breach team escorting the target encounters another small group of enemies in the conference hall. The 2 team members covering the rear are forced to take defensive positions outside the door. Just like that, the teams split in 2. To avoid getting bogged down in a prolonged firefight, they decide to withdraw from the engagement and break out separately. This special operation gradually begins to spiral out of control. As the Special Operations team engages in a life-or-death struggle with the enemy forces, the Finnish Prime Minister secretly meets with a Russian-appointed intermediary. He attempts to sign an unequal treaty, effectively ceding the Hanko Peninsula to Russia under the guise of a lease. With this achievement of defusing the conflict and Russian support, he believes he can wrest the presidency from Linnea. However, just as the Prime Minister prepares to leave, he faces an assassination attempt by a sniper. He narrowly escapes, thanks to his bodyguard's sacrificial cover. The situation in Finnish politics grows increasingly chaotic.